So I got into the barbering industry. My grandfather started me cutting his hair on the porch in North Carolina. I was the youngest of three boys. My older brothers had to do yard work, help him around the house, and I was too small, too young. So my chore was to give him a haircut every Saturday. Fast forward, I began cutting hair in the neighborhood when I grew up in New York City, in the Bronx. My friends and I, we would get the money that their parents would give them and my mom would give us to get haircuts. We would sit in the barbershop for hours being skipped by the older guys. They had things to do and places to go. So in that process, I sat and watched countless haircuts. I learned how to cut hair, and that was a reinforcement on my learning process. I continued on cutting hair throughout my teenage and early 20s. And then I went on to barber school. I moved to Atlanta Tech. I moved to Atlanta, went to Atlanta Technical College, a 15-month program there, and got into the industry. I worked in the industry for about 3 years and decided I wanted to go back and get more of an advanced skill set. So I went back to Atlanta Tech and got my cosmetology license. So in growing and putting together my brand, I decided that I wanted the name and the image of the logo to be associated with everything barbering. Barbers that can do all services that walk in the door. Classic barbershop is the idea that I came up with. The shop that I had fall into my lap basically was a 4-chair shop. It had old chairs that was from the 1950s, original chairs. And then it was always a small town shop that was always white owned. I was the first black owner of that barbershop. I brought black clients to that shop for the very first time. So that was groundbreaking in itself in that town. Meanwhile, it was happening. I had no idea it was happening. It was unbeknownst to me. I come to learn over the years that that was the case. So in establishing the brand, I wanted something to have a classic vibe to it. So that became a part of the name, classic. The word tonsorial means a barber that does everything barbering. Tonsorial services, the word tonsorial is an old English word, an old Latin word, has a Latin base, and it means to cut. In a time when barbers did services such as dental work, pulling teeth, barbers did what was known as bloodletting. If you had ailments, they had this belief that if you drained blood into the bowl and allow a patient to squeeze the pole and tie strips of cloth around their arm tight and against their veins, it would squeeze blood out of them and remove some of the sickness out of them. And then they had tubes that they would filter back into the vein to replenish that blood back into you. So it was a very medieval form of surgery. But at any rate, these are all things that barbers did, along with getting a haircut, shave, sometime a bath because they didn't have running water in a lot of places. So a barbershop was a part of the community, a big part of the community.